Okay. Shalom, Shavua Tov. B'ezrat Hashem, it should be an amazing week. It is an amazing week. Vayetze with the whole parsha and the ladder and Yaakov Avinu. It's the beginning of Yaakov Avinu's his existence now in the year. Every year we do the parsha, and it's activating the zchut of the tzaddikim in the parshiot. So now we begin really with Yaakov's becoming Yaakov Avinu and the father of the 12 tribes. Rav Nosson, Rabbi Natan, he a lot develops the whole story of Yaakov Avinu and his dream and the whole significance. It's very detailed, beautifully, B'ezrat Hashem. If every chance we'll go into it. But the key for this class is something very special, B'ezrat Hashem. Okay? We have two devotions, two etzot, two advice revealed by the tzaddikim, and they both seem to match seemingly. And the question arises, so what's the difference? We will explain. From the Chumash, and then afterwards in the Gemara, the Midrash, the Zohar, and the Arizal, they all speak about the power of the Ketoret. Ketoret. Last year, if you remember, we spoke a little about Ketoret. We're going to continue the next stage on this because there's something really powerful here. The Ketoret, the first expression of the Ketoret being a power to help save, is in Parashat Korach. Parashat Korach, after Korach Vadato, Datan and Aviram, they were swallowed up or they were burnt by the Machtot. Okay, so then the Jews began to attack and accuse Moshe and Aaron. Atem hamitenet adat Yisrael. You guys killed the Jewish people because 24,000 people. Many people died already. So not 24,000, 250 of Adat Korach. They were killed. So because of their machloket, a magefa, plague, set out. Meaning Hashem gave permission for the angel of death, Malach HaMavet, to start going and taking away Jewish people, taking away their lives. So we see in Parshat Korach that Moshe Rabbeinu reveals to Aaron, Maher, quickly, take the machta, take the plate, the special shovel, the golden shovel, put Ketoret on it with the fire, and go quickly to stop the magefa. So Rashi brings on from the Chazal that the angel of death himself revealed to Moshe Rabbeinu this secret, that if ever you want to stop a magefa, a plague, anytime you want to stop a magefa, a plague, the Ketoret has the power to do so. Okay? Magefa, by the way, is one of the worst type of inflictions. The Rav Chaim Vital, he writes that in the Klalot, the curses of Parshat Kitavo, there's 98 curses. The only one that says Yatbek Becha, it should stick to you, is when it comes to a Magefa. He says it's possibly that this is the after effect of the Corona, because the Corona was technically a Magefa. He says a Magefa is so bad that even after it goes, it's stuck on the person's clothing, his vicinity, his neighborhood. Anywhere you're in close proximity to someone who had a Magefa, it stays even after the Magefa goes on. That's why it's so necessary to clean it, okay? And the Rav Chaim Vital reveals that's the power of Ketoret. I'm jumping a little ahead, but the Ketoret has the power to clean from that. Let's go back to the Parsha. So Aaron went with the Ketoret, and the Ketoret had the ability to stop and seize the spreading of the Magefa, of the plague, okay? So based on this,
Morning, gentlemen.
Good morning.
Would you like a coffee? Hey. I want to just give me a second.
Thank you.
So the Zohar goes on to explain that this is the power of the Ketoret. The Ketoret has the power to stop Magefa, okay? So it goes on to say that even after the destruction of the Beit HaMikdash, we don't have Ketoret. Just the reciting of the Ketoret also has that power. That's why there's some who have a hidur to read the Ketoret on klaf, on parchment, because if we want to activate a similar level of mitigation and sweetening, so we wanted to best match the actual Ketoret. So we read the words as they're inscribed in the Chumash, in the Sefer Torah, in klaf, in parchment, in otiot of Asherit, and that way B'ezrat Hashem to activate it. Okay, there's many levels, but this is the idea of the Ketoret. And the Zohar goes on to explain that there's 11 fragrances in the Ketoret. Why 11? Because the idea of the Ketoret, what does it do? It goes into the realm of the klipot, of the evil, and does extraction. It extracts holy sparks that are stuck in the domain of evil. And these sparks are stuck there from already before the creation. From what was called before, with the actual creation, it's called the Shvirat HaKelim, a shattering of the vessels, which means that when Hashem initially created the world, he created with an imperfection, a defect. Hashem made it purposely of a defect, that there should be a crash, so that we have what to do when the creation is done a second time, which is now, that we have we have a mission here to collect all the good. So every morning, you're davening shacharit every day for your whole life. And you think sometimes it's boring. It's the same thing every day. What's new? Every day has new sparks that only you can collect, and only on this day, only in this place, all the combination of you, where you are, and the time, all three as a unique ability to collect sparks that no other time, no other person, and no other place can be done. And the Ketoret does that. Reciting the Ketoret, it's 11 fragrances corresponding to what's called the 10 Sfirot, and 11th one. Why 10? Because the evil has also 10 levels of energy. When evil takes the Kedusha, it keeps it in 10 levels. So what the Ketoret does, it kills the evil, takes out the holy sparks, and brings it back out. This is why it's so important not to skip the Ketoret when you daven in the morning. Don't run to Hodu. The Ben Ish Chai brings down, if you're late for davening, one of the things you should never skip is the Ketoret, because that's what's going to help you to do your elevation of your davening. Even if you're late and everything, and I have to get, don't skip the Ketoret. At least the opening parasha of the and the first bright Tanu Rabbanan, that shouldn't be skipped, so you can at least activate it. Okay, but the bottom line of the Ketoret is that it goes into the klipot. Okay, it kills the evil and brings out the holiness trapped there. That's what Ketoret does. Now, Rabbi Nachman on the Tikkun Haklali says something similar. He says the idea of the saying the Tikkun Haklali, these 10 chapters, 10 types of nigunim of melody, they also go to do extraction. They also go to extract. It's now, in this case, it's in Pigama Brit, of sexual immorality, of Zer Levatala. And now these are not just sparks, these are holy neshamot that are now stuck. And these neshamot, if they're not extracted, they become mazike alma, become destroyers, agents of destruction. The Zohar says that any nezek in the world that's happening, and any damage, it's ultimately connected to Pagama Brit, to the wasted seed of mankind, creating these mazikin. Okay, it's scary. So the idea of Tikkun Haklali is also to go in to kill the evil force who takes them. Her name is, we don't say her name, Lamed Yud Tav. And Rabbi Nachman reveals that Tehillim is the antidote, because the gematria of her name is Tehillim with the 5 letters. Okay? So, and the power of the Tikkun Haklali is also to go in, to destroy, and to extract.
Why isn't there 11 songs that correspond to the 11 spices?
In the Pitum Ketoret, the Rav Chaim Vitali explains that the 10 fragrances of the Ketoret correspond to the 10 sfirot of the world of Asiya. In Judaism, and the davening, there's what's called 4 dimensions, 4 worlds. Dimensions means like levels of experience. And when you're davening your morning prayer, you go through all 4 worlds, all 4 dimensions. The korbanot up to Baruch Shamar is called the world of Asiya. From Baruch Shamar to Ishtabach is Yetzirah. From the brachot of Kriyat Shema to the Amida, some say even inside the Amida already, the first 3 brachot is the world of Bria. And finally, the Shvitz, the top is the Shmoneh Esrei, called Atzilut. And once you finish the Shmoneh Esrei, you don't stay up there, you go down. So then you say Ashrei Uva Letzion, you go down one world, Bria, and then the Shir Shel Yom Hayom Yom Echad B'Shabbat Kodesh is now back into Yetzirah. And finally, the Ketoret that we say and Aleinu L'Shabeach is back into Asiya. So that way, the energy that you collected, you bring it back down, and then you go into your daily business with that energy that you bring it down. You don't stay up there, you bring it down with. So, because now, when we're starting the davening, it's heavy. You wake up in the morning, it's a new day, it's a new challenge, it's a new struggle, it's heavy. So we're working with Olam Asiya, but the Arizal says the 11th level is what's called Malchut, the lowest level of the next world, of the one's called Yetzirah. That's why there's 11. Tikkun Haklali, we're gonna go into this. Tikkun Haklali has nothing to do with the world of Asiyah. It comes from above the Keter. It's way above. It comes from a highest level. The Ketoret is with the lowest level of the Sfirot, but the Tikkun Haklali is going up to a higher level. So there's only 10 because they correspond to the 10 utterances, the 10 utterances of the creation. That's why it's 10. Fine.
Do it every day then?
What?
The Tikkun Haklali?
It's suggestive. It's such a gift. Someone has to be stupid not to take this gift. Rabbi Nachman didn't say to say it every day. He said explicitly a day that, God forbid, a person has an emission. He says, make sure that same day to say it. Why is he so specific on that same day? Because the sparks of these souls that were emitted in vain, so long as there's no ha'arev shemesh, there's no sunset, they still have a wanting to escape, to come out. They have a ratzon because they're souls. Okay. Once nightfall sets, and nightfall is the domain of the klipar, who's called Lamed Yutav, she convinces them to stay there and to enjoy being demons and causing evil and destruction. In other words, they turn from not wanting to be there to wanting to be there by sunset. That's why Rabbi Nachman, he stressed, make sure you say it the same day. First, you should go to the mikveh, say the Tikkun Haklali. And even if you can't say the Tikkun Haklali, you can't go to the mikveh, make sure the day doesn't finish without saying the Tikkun Haklali. Make sure it's said on that day, okay? So he initially suggested it for a day that a person has an emission. But in Breslov, the custom is, it's such a gift. What it does, if it can help fix this damage, so why not say it every day? It's a big dosage of vitamins, multivitamin, power pack. So say it every day. It's understood. It's a gift. So that it's suggested to say it every day. In Breslov circles, they do say it every day. All right. The question though, and I've had this question for years, the way the Arizal and the Zohar and the Midrash and the Gemara explains the power of the Ketoret, and the way Rabbi Nachman explains the idea of Tikkun Haklali, it looks like it's the same thing. What did Rabbi Nachman come to add by the Tikkun Haklali? It sounds like it does the same thing. It's extraction. Ketoret goes into the klipot, kills the enemy, brings out the holy sparks. Tikkun Haklali, the exact same thing. Well, what did you come to add, Rabbi Nachman, by saying that by Tikkun Haklali? Answer, an amazing answer given by Rav Yonatan Eibshitz. Rav Yonatan Eibshitz, he's the first one who I see who brought a clear explanation, saying that Ketoret has its limitations. Ketoret has its place, and up to a certain degree. He says like this, Rav Yonatan Eibshitz. We see in Parshat Korach that Moshe told Aharon when there was a magefa, the magefa was due to strife, to machloket. They were against Moshe and Aharon, so Hashem let out this magefa to start attacking the Jews because of the machloket, the strife. So for magefa and strife and that area of bad, the Ketoret can act activation. However, he points out, Yonatan Eibshitz, the second time this magefa is where? Parshat Balak. Parshat Balak, at the end of Parshat Balak, Bilaam tells Balak, I'll give you a secret. You want to bring the Jews down? Elokechem shelele soneh zima. The God of the Jewish people, he hates immorality. You want to bring the Jews down? Let them fall into sexual immorality? That's your way in. So the end of Parshat Balak, we see that Bnot Moav, right? Daughters of Moav or Bnot Midian, I always forget mixed up, it's Midian or Moav. They enticed the Jewish men. Jewish men fell. The whole story with Cosbi, Batsur, and Zimri, right? There was major immorality, especially in the tribe of Shimon. And Magefa broke out. Again, killing a scary number, 24,000. It's amazing. 24,000 were killed also in Parshat Korach until Aharon came with the Machta and the Ketoret. 24,000 died until he was able to stop it. And in Parshat Balak, also 24,000 died. But the Rav Yonatan Eibshitz points out, 1 second, and by that time in Parshat Balak, Aaron the Kohen already passed away. So now Elazar is the Kohen Gadol. Why didn't Moshe Rabbeinu tell Elazar, take the Ketoret again? If the Ketoret stops Magefa, it stops plague, it has the power to stop evil and angel of death. You did that in Parshat Korach. Why don't you do that also in Parshat Balak? Why not? Nothing's mentioned, right? If Bilaam comes, gives bad advice, Balak listens to it, 24,000 Jews fall. There's no mentioning that Moshe Rabbeinu tried to stop it. So Jonathan Eibschitz, he says, from here you see the Ketoret has a limitation. Until where does Ketoret work? Until Pgam Habrit. Sexual immorality up to there. Okay, up to there. After that, Ketoret cannot help. Okay, he left. He's at least 150 years before Rabbi Nachman. Okay, he's way before Rabbi Nachman, and he already revealed that Ketoret. Rabbi Nachman Eibschitz, he reveals this idea. He lived 150 years approximately before Rabbeinu. Why 100 years? He was in the 1600s. Okay, early 1700s. Okay, 100 years before Rabbeinu. So he says that the Ketoret has its limitations. It can't help for Pgam Habrit. Why? When does you see? He explains like this. The word Ketoret in Aramaic, Katar, Kuf, Tet, Resh, is the Aramaic translation for Kesher.
That's not the Magnifa at the time of the Zimri.
Yeah, and
What stopped the Magnifa?
nothing. It just said that nothing stopped the Magifa. Take a look. Pinchas, sorry.
No,
Pinchas, his Kina. Pinchas stopped at his Kina. You're right.
But
You're right.
He stopped it by what?
By killing Zimri.
Zimri. And they didn't use the Ketoret?
Nothing.
Because
Nothing
the
at all.
Kohen also.
Right. But the Ketoret wasn't used.
No, but
He's a lineage, he's the grandson of Aaron a Kohen, but he wasn't yet a Kohen. The Ketoret was not used in Parashat Balak. Okay, it wasn't. Keter, let's go back to what we're saying. Keter is Melashon Kesher. What does that mean, Kesher? How the Ketoret works for extraction is that it's able to pull out, because it's 11 fragrances that correspond to 11 spherot, and it's like a chain. They're all connected. So when there's evil trapped in the evil, the Ketoret is like you're lowering the chain into that pit, killing the evil and extracting, but it's all connected, okay? So long as there's a kesher, he explains, so the holiness can be extracted. But when you sever the kesher, which is done by what? Pgam Habrit. Sexual immorality cuts totally. It makes a total separation. Pgam Habrit, when it was wasted seed, God forbid, it's totally separated. There's nothing to connect. He says, Rav Nosson, he says in Likutey Moharan that when a person's inner point is in his Kedushat Habrit, and when God forbid there's wasted seed, he lost his point. And he says because of that, someone who's blemished their brit, they need to get a new point, which only the tzaddikim can give them a new point. So he says, Rav Nosson, that people who have blemished their covenant, their only hope to start again, they need to receive a new nikuda, a new point from the tzaddikim to give them a new vitality. They have no other choice. People who have fallen so low, they need a tzaddik to give them a new point to revive them, to revive them. Yeah.
He says a portion, Yeshu Tikva, that means the guy who falls into that aspect of the brit, always with the Tikva that's
Rabbeinu and Rabbi Nachman's wisdom in Sichot Haran, he quotes the Zohar that says, the Zohar, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in the Zohar, that for the blemish of the brit, b'mezid, there's no tshuva. And Rabbeinu says, nobody in the world understands the pshat of the Zohar except for me. That's his wording. And I say tshuva always helps. There's always hope. But now what's the hope? The hope is that you're saying the Tikkun Haklali, B'ezrat Hashem. Last time we were here, we spoke about it. There's like a few levels in Tikkun Haklali. They're saying Tikkun Haklali anywhere in the world on the day that a person has an unintentional emission. But now how about emissions from the past or intentional? From this, you see, you need something else. And this is how I see things, is that for this, you need to say the Tikkun Haklali by Rabbi Nachman's kever. Because there's a question here. If now Rabbi Nachman revealed the power of the Tikkun Haklali, why did he add an extra point? He made an oath. Anybody who comes to my kever and says the Tikkun Haklali, no matter what he's done, I'll pull him out of Gehenna. But 1 second, did you already say that Tikkun Haklali can help for unintentional? So it seems that what he's adding is what's worse than unintentional, which could be intentional. And for that, you would need to say the Tikkun Haklali by the Tzion of Rabbeinu and Enuma to have that activation for intentional Pgam. Okay? So now, going back, so we see that Pgam Habrit makes a total separation. Ketoret could only help. It's like a chain. Okay? It's like a chain and it's able to pull out because it's all connected. So you can extract. So with Ketoret, I can extract if it's connected. But if there's a total disconnection, for that you need something stronger. You need a super duper bulldozer to go extract. It's like the analogy is like this. You know, if now they took hostages in Gaza, Hashem Barachem, okay? If I know that the hostages are just behind the wall of 4 meters, okay, a 4 meter, a 1 meter thick wall. I know that if I send a giant missile, it'll blow up the wall, but might also kill the hostages. So I have to act delicate to send a less powerful type of missile that can damage just the wall, so I can get in and extract. But if I know that the hostages are behind a 20-meter thick wall, so I know that a regular missile won't be enough, so I'm gonna have to offer a super duper boom missile to break those 20 meters to get to extract the hostages, okay? So too, this is explaining why we need both. Because you would think, if Tikkun Haklali is so powerful, and there's a rule in the Gemara, Bichlal Matayim Maneh. If you in 200, you have 100. Meaning what? If you have access to something stronger, so use the stronger thing. Okay? Have a multivitamin and regular tiny vitamins. Use the big vitamin and automatically it should heal the lesser things. You need both. Why do you need both? There's parts of the day that are delicate, like the hostages that are just behind the 1 meter wall. If I give too much of a boom, I can cause more damage. So for that, that's the Ketoret. Ketoret is part of the daily avodah of extracting. He says, Rav Nosson, just to explain this point, our mission in this world is to collect holy sparks. Whenever you do a mitzvah, you say a bracha, you keep Shabbat, you do tefillin, shofar, mezuzah, everything you're doing, all the mitzvot, the goal is to extract holiness that's trapped and to bring it up. That's hidden into a mitzvah. We said this once in the past. Mitzvah, you have Mem Tzadik, Vav He. The Vav He of mitzvah is from Yud Ke, Vav Ke. That's Vav Ke of mitzvah. What's Mem Tzadik? Mem Tzadik in a gematria called Atbash. Atbash is you take the 22 letters of the Hebrew alphabet and fold it like this. So Aleph is equal to Tav, Bet is equal to Shin, okay? It's called Atbash. In Atbash, Mem Tzadik corresponds to Yud Ke. Meaning what? When you're doing a mitzvah, you're actually reconnecting to Hashem. Reconnecting what? The mitzvot. And what is the mitzvot? What are the mitzvot you're doing? These are the holy sparks that are trapped. Okay? Doing mitzvot is basically collecting the holy sparks, bringing them back up to Hashem. But because they're also trapped and they're stuck, like you see they're in the quicksand and everything, you need a strong shovel to lift them out. That's what the Ketoret does every day. That's why it's so important to say Ketoret twice in the morning and once in Mincha to allow for the extraction for the daily struggles. However, for Pagam Mabrit, like the Gemara says, that there's 3 things that a person stumbles upon every day. And one of them is Pagam Mabrit. Even Shvat Ha'anayim, Rav Chaim Kanievsky, Alav Shalom, he wrote that a person can have a bad look at it in the moral sight, and only a few months later he can have an emission because of what happened 2 months ago, 3 months ago. It stays in the subconscious, and it can happen that it comes out a month or 2 months later. It's crazy. So in other words, and every day, people, they see things. You go to work, you're on the street, you have interaction with females. Okay, it's not easy. And the Gemara says that. That's one of the 3 things that most people stumble across every day. So if that's the case, and Pagam Mabrit is already activated by even a wrong thought, and it stays in the subconscious, and God forbid can come out after a month, 2 months later, chas v'shalom. So we need also to combat that. And Breslov used to say like this, Rabbi Yitzhak Bender would say like this. He said Tikkun Haklali can help for the past and can also help for the future. It protects for what happened already, if it's the same day, chas v'shalom, and it can protect also, it's a protection for the future. And that explains why they say it every day. So I can have a type of protection for any future damage. But in short, this is why we need both of them. You're saying it for him. What do I tell you? Now, one additional point is that Ketoret, the pasuk says in Mishle, Ketoret Yesamach Lev. The reason why it's so important to say Ketoret every day, because it's your key to have simcha today. Ketoret, Rabbi Natan writes clearly in Likutey Moharan, the bridge Likutey Moharan, that by saying Ketoret b'kavana, working, investing to say the Ketoret and trying to understand it, is a segula for happiness. And happiness, as we know, is the key for everything else. Your mitzvot don't go up if they're missing simcha. Simcha is the key for everything going up. That's when the beginning of the day, at the morning, early in the morning, Ketoret is part of the day to infuse you with simcha. If you have simcha, you have better chances that your davening will do the job. Your Kriyat Shema will do the job. Your Shmoneh Esrei, the Torah study you do, the tzedakah you do, all the things you do during the day, you have now a better chance of doing them b'simcha, and that simcha is what pushes them up. So Ketoret is a big, big simcha. We said this last time, if you recall, that in the word for Ketoret, when you open up the value, so it's I'm trying to remember now how it works. Kuf, Tet, Reish, Tav. I'm trying to remember. It's been a while. Is gematria? Sorry. So yeah, no. Kuf, Tet, Reish, Tav. How much is that? That's 109. 109 plus 200, so 309 plus 400, 709 is exactly gematria of Nachman when spelled out. So that's Nun Vav Nun, Chet Tav, Mem Mem Nun Vav Nun. This Abba Nachman he writes that in the Ketoret is the Rabbi Zach. Rabbeinu's Inyan is already in the Inyan of the Ketoret. It's hinted to there already. So Ketoret is something so powerful. It's so important and not to be skipped. Most people, it's sad. You see people, when from does davening start? Hodu. What's Hodu? You skip the Ketoret, you lost out. Chas v'shalom. Chaval. Ketoret is to help. Yes.
So, actually, the Jews don't do it.
Since when? Take a look in the Siddur. Everyone has Ketoret. What are you talking about?
The same twice in the morning and
I think everybody.
after tefillah?
They do it, just they don't do it in Sibur. They come to Hodu with it already done, everybody on his own.
But I'm talking at the end of tefillah.
They don't repeat the Torah portion, they repeat the Braita.
Yeah, they say part of it. We, the Sfardim, we say the whole thing. Twice, the whole thing. They say a part of it.
Ketoret is the whole thing, is the part.
Oh, it depends on the minan, but they're saying the minimum. Like I said, Ben Ish Chai said, if you're stuck and you're late, whatever you can be Yotzeh for the Vayomer Hashem Kach Lechasamim and Tanu Rabbanan. That you shouldn't skip. Even if you're late, that it's part of the davening, you shouldn't skip because that's the whole aliyah. But this thing of the simcha is so important for the mitzvot. He says, Rav Natan in one place, believe it or not, that the simcha in doing a mitzvah is even greater than the mitzvah itself. It's greater than the mitzvah itself. It's like a Hasidic word, but there's so much emet into that because the goal of Judaism, the goal what Hashem wants is shenavodoto besimcha. We said this yesterday also that the curses in Parshat Kitavo, the curses in Parshat Kitavo, it says there 98 curses, and in the middle it says, why is this coming to you? Tachat asher lo avadat Hashem elokecha besimcha. That the pasuk doesn't say because you're not serving Hashem, period. No, it's saying because you don't serve Hashem besimcha. What's the thing? Because Hashem knows, the Torah knows that if you're not happy in your Judaism, if you don't have that positive connection, then push gets the shove, you get squeezed, it gets difficult. The first thing you drop is the Judaism. It's like a child who's always do like this. Everything is just strict and getting it. Okay, such children, they grow up. I don't need this. I don't need this stuff. If this is the attitude of Torah and this is Yiddishkeit and this is, I don't need this. Okay, that it's so important. The chinuch today, especially, has to have that balance of ahava and simcha to show people that it's a kef to be a Jew. It's an amazing thing. We said yesterday on Simchat Torah, Rabbi Nachman once told Rav Nosson that to this Simchat Torah, I was so happy. I even danced by myself. He said, we're so happy. And Rav Nosson said, it's the truth. When you think about the idea of Simchat Torah, it's being happy on us being a Jew. It's one of the happiest days of the year. It's a combination of all the Yamim Noraim. And starting the new year, starting with a boost of Simcha. Because really, this is the key for everything. If you're not happy in your Judaism, so you're going to lose out. It's obvious that it's going to fall off. What's needed is a big boost of Simcha. We brought a story on Shabbat. I'll say it over again. That there were two families that came to Ellis Island in the 1920s from Eastern Europe. At the time in the 1920s, Jews were fleeing from Eastern Europe because of the pogroms in Russia, etc. So two families came with the same scenario. A family, many kids, okay, religious, and they came to Ellis Island, like everyone else to New York. And back then in America, you had to work 6 days a week. The one day off was Sunday. Okay, you didn't come to work on Shabbat, Saturday, you got fired. So these two families, the exact same scenario. The father found a new job. Okay, he's working. He didn't tell them he's not coming on Saturday. Okay, he didn't show up on Saturday. Sunday is off. He came to work on Monday. You're fired. Find a new job. So they find another. They look for now the jobs and everything, whatever they had back in the 1920s, the newspapers. He finds another job, and the same scenario. The second week, that he doesn't tell me he's not going to work on Shabbat. He doesn't show up to work on Shabbat, not on Sunday. Monday, you're fired. So now the opportunities of jobs gets less and less and less and less as every week goes by. So both families, they ended up with the same similar scenario that after about a month or 6 weeks, 8 weeks, they had no more jobs to find. And they had mamash no food on the Shabbat table. So one family, the father sees his kids crying, Abba, where's the nice challah? Where's everything? There's no food. And he saw his kids crying on the Shabbat table that there's no food. And he couldn't handle it. So the next week he worked on Shabbat. And that guy lost all of his kids. He assimilated, whatever, he lost all of his kids to assimilation. The other family, the other guy, we had the same scenario, and there's no food, but he was able to make the best of being b'simcha in a situation like that. This is what the Ratzon of Hashem is. So he took his children on his laps, and he said, my kids, Hashem wants us this Shabbat to sing. Sorry, there was a sing Zmirot. The food, okay, another time. And he made them feel so good about themselves, to make them feel that what we're doing is the best thing, and Hashem wants us to do this, that he gained their love and their happiness. And Hashem made miracles for him. He found another job. All of his kids remained religious. They became Talmidei Chachamim. They went to yeshiva and everything, okay? Meaning, again, simcha is the key if you're going to hold on or not. If there's no simcha in your Judaism, it's just, I have to get up. I have to get up. If you remember, I'm saying this, 1980s, there was a commercial of Dunkin' Donuts. You remember this commercial? Dunkin' Donuts, time to make the donuts. The guy woke up 4 a.m. The Dunkin' Donuts, they want to show that their donuts are the best. That their workers wake up extra early to make the donuts. So the guy's like, time to make, he's sleeping and he's going in the car. So if Judaism is like that, I have to get up to put on my tefillin, oh my God, and get up, and it's heavy and heavy. Okay? Even if it happens, but at least I know that simcha is the goal. I make simcha as the key and as the goal, then it's a different Judaism. It's a different avodat Hashem, even if it's not 100%. But I focus that simcha is the key. We said this on Shabbat, I'll say it again, that Rabbi Nachman reveals in lesson 17, part 2 of Likutey Moharan, that the source of yirah comes from Shabbat. In Tikkun Haklali, you have 70 combinations of the word Bereshit. One is called Yereh Shabbat. To show, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai says in the Tikkun Haklali that the essence of Yira comes from Shabbat. However, Rabbi Nachman teaches in this lesson that the key to come to Yira is Simcha. Okay? Vegilu bir'ada. Rejoice. Okay? Bir'ada. The Ra'ada comes as a result of the Gilu. Okay? If the Hashem b'Simcha, if the Hashem b'Yira, the key to come to Yira is through Simcha. So when Rabbi Nachman reviewed this lesson, he asked Rav Nosson, are you happy on Shabbat? So Rav Nosson, he said, sometimes I have an arousal, like orarut, which in Yiddish is called a frumkeit. I have an arousal, spiritual arousal. So Rabbi Nachman told him, that's not the way. That's not the way. You have to work on being b'simcha. So then Rabbi Nachman read his mind, and then Rabbi Nachman told Rav Nosson, now you have what to worry about. And Rav Nosson said, he read my mind. Exactly. That now, if I'm not happy on Shabbat, and I have to be happy, so what am I going to have to? How am I going to force myself to be happy if I'm not happy? So then Rav Nosson told Rabbi Nachman, at least I want to be happy. So Rabbi Nachman, we smiled. He said to everyone, you heard what he said? He said, right, that's it. That even if I can't be happy, I want to be happy. Meaning what? This is something that person has to make as his goal. Simcha has to be a priority. Because if there's no simcha, there's nothing. Nothing goes up. Everything's stagnant. Everything stays down. It's not easy. It's not easy when you live in cold Montreal and everyone's cold. You need a simcha boost. You need to have a boost of simcha and to build it up. Rabbi Nachman says, if it means telling jokes, tell jokes. If it means dancing, Baruch Hashem, we danced last night. It was so nice. Danced about half an hour. Nobody wanted to dance. But we started to dance, and by the end of after half an hour, everybody was dancing. It was beautiful, okay? Finding the good points, giving thanks to Hashem for every tiny thing, to recognize I don't deserve to wake up in the morning. I don't deserve to put on tefillin. I don't deserve to have a beautiful wife and kids. I don't deserve everything is a gift. Thank you, Hashem. Hoda'ah. And number 5 is always looking that in the end, everything's going to work out. So if in the end, everything's going to work out, why are you worrying? It's an amazing musar. Rav Nosson says, a person now, he feels like he's suffering in the present. This is not working, the parnasa is not working out, the shalom bayit is not working out, the children are not turning out the way I want them to, my health issues. So when a person is stuck looking at the present, he has what to be sad about. However, if you connect the present to the future, And the future is what? The future is after Tchet HaMetim, after Mashiach comes, everything's going to work out exactly as Hashem wanted to work out, and His goodness is going to be revealed to the world. So if you believe in Tchet HaMetim, you believe in Mashiach, you believe that things are going to work out, you believe that there's a purpose for this world, and it's going to be good, so why are you worrying now in the present? You're worrying in the present because you separate and detach the future from the present. Well, if you connect them, you join them together, you have what to always be happy about. Because the present situation is in vain in light of the future situation. So that's what gives meaning. That's what gives me hope that it's going to work out, B'ezrat Hashem. I said a story on Shabbat. There was a mother and daughter who went together from beginning to end, Auschwitz and these bad camps, and they survived together, and they came out together. And they asked the mother, how did you do that? You know, that's a 1 in a million that a mother and daughter are not separated by the Gestapos and the Nazis, and they both remain alive in Auschwitz, where the ratio of being alive was like 100,000 to 1, whatever. How did you guys make it? So she said she was always laughing. She got to Auschwitz, the chimneys burning bodies, and people are like all miserable, and she started cracking up. And she was a religious lady, and she was normal. They asked her, why were you cracking up? You don't see people, Jews dying. You don't have the fear and the pachad and sadness and misery. She said, no, because I saw these idiots are going to pay for it. These Nazis, they're going to pay for it. It was so obvious that they're stupid. You're doing bad, and you think you're going to get away with it. You're not going to get away with it. These guys, these Hamasnikim, they kill babies, and they think they're not going to get away with it. They have to be stupid to believe that doing something evil for the cause of something good, it's total sheker. Rav Nosson explains on what Rashi says on Parshat Shlach. The Parshat Shlach, if you remember the angels, the Meraglim, not the Malachim, the Meraglim, the spies, they came back to Moshe Rabbeinu bringing the big fruit of Eretz Yisrael, and they started by praising Eretz Yisrael. Tova haaretz meod, meod I think, v'zo pirya. The land is very good, the spies said to Moshe Rabbeinu, and here are the fruits. And then they started talking Lashon Hara, Efes, Ki Azam, we're not going to make it, they're bad. So Rashi points out, why did they start off with good? If the whole intent was to say slander, why did they start off with good? So Rashi brings the rule, and Rabbi Nachman builds on this rule. Kol sheker she'en ba emet ena mitkayem. You want sheker, you want to say a sheker, and you want it to be acceptable, you have to hide it behind some piece of truth, okay? When does sheker fall? When it can no longer hide behind the truth, okay? So we're in a situation now, what happened in Gaza, that it's so obvious that it's sheker. You know, it's so obvious, like you're cracking up because it's so stupid. They come in, kill Jewish people, and then tell the world that we're the victims. You have to be crazy. It's like someone who says 2 + 2 is 5, and a woman is a man, and a woman is a woman, and a chair is a table. There's no logic at all to defend this idea. It's so obvious a sheker. There's no emet. In other words, the sheker tries to hide behind emet, so at least there's a width to the emet. But when the emet is like this, and yet the sheker is a fat guy, and he can't hide behind a little stick of emet. It's so obvious. You have to be stupid, okay? So this lady, she's saying, it's so obvious you guys are doing bad. You're going to pay the price. Anyone who does bad, they're stupid. Hitler was stupid, yes. The Midrash says that each enemy made fun of the previous one. You know, Esav, last week's parasha, the Midrash says that Esav said, I'm going to wait for my father to die. Yikarev Evel Avi, let Yitzchak pass away, and then I'm going to deal with Yaakov. So the Midrash says, but you're stupid. Then Paro said about Esav, you're stupid, Esav. You waited for Yaakov to kill him. In the meantime, Yaakov became 70 people. He became 12 tribes and their children. You know, what are you waiting for? Okay? What did Paro say? When the child is born, if it's a boy, on the spot to kill him. I'm not going to wait. So then Haman said about Paro, you're stupid. This is the Midrash says, you kill just the boys. What, the girls are not Jewish, are not children? A Jewish woman, she has relations with a goy. The children are Jewish. So Haman says, I'm going to kill everybody, not just the boys. Man, woman, children. Okay, and the Midrash goes on that Gog, he's saying about Haman, you're stupid. You think you can kill the Jews by just killing them physically? So long as they're connected with their God, you can't deal with the Jews. What I'm going to do, Gog says, I'm going to fight against their God. I'm going to sever the connection between Am Yisrael. Gog is a Google. That's why it's called Google. Because it's Gog. Click on Gog. It's obvious what. You know that? Yeah. It's called Gog is Google. It's so obvious. So Gog says, I'm gonna separate them from Am Yisrael. So Hashem says, you want to fight against me? So I'll bring you to Eretz Yisrael, and here I'm gonna bring you down. So the Midrash says that Gog is gonna be in Eretz Yisrael, and here's gonna be dealt with. However, we have a word from Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson writes like this. Rabbi Nachman revealed a book called Megillat Setarim. It's not a book, it's a manuscript, and you can't understand it. Megillat Setarim are secrets that Rabbi Nachman revealed to Rav Nosson and Rav Naftali what's going to happen until Mashiach comes. And he told them only 2 people per generation are allowed to know about this. So wherever of you 2 passes on first, the second one who survives is allowed to tell it to somebody else. Rav Nosson passed away in the year 1844. When he passed away in 1844, Rav Naftali revealed this Megillat Setarim to another Breslover, Rav Aharon Lipovetsker, because he trusted him. He was looking for someone who can keep his mouth shut and keep a secret. Aharon Lipovetsker was someone like that. When Rav Naftali passed away 20 years later, he passed away much older than Rav Nosson. So Aharon Lipovetsker revealed it to Avram ben Rav Nachman, another Breslover. And when Aharon Lipovetsker passed away, he was so good in keeping a secret of Rav Nachman, he didn't tell anybody anything to anybody. So nobody knows if he revealed it to somebody, and Bichlal, where it is now. So today we don't know about it. However, Rav Nosson did say one thing when he heard from Rabbi Nachman Megillat Setarim. Rav Nosson said like this: in what Rabbi Nachman told me about what's going to happen until Mashiach comes, he did not mention even once there the war of Gog and Magog. So Rav Nosson says this: I understand that Gog and Magog is not a physical war. It's the spiritual battle that we are already in from the time of the beginning of the Haskalah, the beginning of the enlightenment, the reform of Judaism, which is from before Rabbi Nachman's time, from the same time approximately, till now. Like we're in a situation where the majority of the Jews in the world are assimilated. The majority of the Jews don't know what Shema is and what Shabbat is. This is Gog and Magog. Because we've never been in a situation in the history of Am Yisrael and Galut where the majority of Jews don't know what Yiddishkeit is, what Judaism is. It's the first time we've been hit so big. This is Gog and Magog, the separating of Am Yisrael from Hashem. That's Gog and Magog, like the Midrash says. Okay, huh?
The letters.
What do you mean?
Letters Hakadoshot. They can't even read it in Hebrew.
Right.
They don't even know what it is.
Exactly.
It's all priesthood.
So we went off a lot, the Gog and Magog. But the thing is, going back to this lady, she said they're stupid. Anyone who does evil, you're stupid. You're gonna pay the price in the end. So when you look at things in that perspective, everything is easy to take. But going back, we have every reason to be happy. We have every right to be happy. And in light of what happened, if you're just a little summer mazin, what happened a month ago on Simchat Torah. Okay, happened on Simchat Torah, number 1. And not just on Simchat Torah, right at the beginning. What time did we hear news that they attacked the Jews? 6:30 in the morning, right? What was 6:30 in the morning in Eretz Yisrael? That was Netz. Netz was approximately in Yerushalayim 6:36, 6:34, 6:32, 6:38. Netz. The meaning, Simchat Torah is technically the day is the beginning of the year. Shoshana Rabbah is the culmination from, it's called Hoshana. Ben Ishchai explains that it's 20, Hosha, save us, Na is 51. From Rosh Chodesh Elul until Hoshana Rabbah is 51 days. The completion of the Din, the judgment of Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, is culminated and finished on Hoshana Rabbah. That's why Hoshana Rabbah is a day we wear white, we do extra davening and screaming, the whole book of Tehillim. It's to give a last chance of Hashem to, before he sends out the pitka, the ptakim, that executes the judgment of the year, we still have a chance to stop it. Plus, on the night of Simchat Torah, the night of Shmini Atzeret, Rabbi Nachman says that when you say Kriyat Shema and Hashem Elokechem Emet Ve'emunah, as soon as you say those words, your parnasa for the whole year is determined. So Hoshana Rabbah, the night of Simchat Torah, when does the year officially begin? On the morning of Simchat Torah, Shmini Atzeret, Simchat Torah. Okay? They attacked exactly at the beginning. Hashem didn't give any time. Immediately, the beginning of the year, on Simchat Torah, which is supposed to be the happiest day of the year, one of the happiest days of the year, the ascension of Simcha, boom. Number 2, what did we hear? What was the main thing that came to us? Were those teenagers at that Nova rave, that Nova festival. And what was the idea? There were kids trying to have a fun time looking for Simcha in a different format. They're not religious or they fell off. They were looking to have simcha through drugs, through dancing, through whatever they were doing. So another type of looking for simcha, but not finding it, finding it in the wrong direction. Number 3, hostages. What does the Torah say? Parshat Kitavo. Parshat Kitavo. One of the 98 curses is what? The exact wording, please forgive me, I don't remember exactly. Banecha uvnotecha bashivya. That your sons and daughters are taken hostages. And why? Like we said earlier, Tachat asher lo avadata Hashem elokecha besimcha uvtuv levav. Those curses, which includes hostages, is because of a lack of simcha. So it's pretty clear from a Breslov perspective why this happened and what we have to do. The attack on the simcha, on Simchat Torah, these kids looking for a different type of simcha, which was the main thing that really got to us. And then the hostages, where the Torah says clearly this type of curse comes about because not serving Hashem besimcha. It comes pretty clear that our weapon is to be besimcha. He says, Rav Nosson, the goyim, their intent in galut is to make us feel sad. When an Arab, he takes the grandma's Facebook and she shows her kids that they're killing her so that the kids can see, right? Shemirachem. So what do they have in mind, these crazy people? They have in mind to make them feel bad. And why do they want them to feel bad? Because their whole thing is to make us atzvut. Am Yisrael, by definition, we're anashim smechim. We're happy people. It's Judaism, right? Tikudei Hashem Yesharim, Misamchei Lev. The whole idea of being a Jew is that we have simcha. Because this world in itself is total atzvut. In itself, this world, the trees, the mountains, and the cars, and the swimming pools, and Maui, and whatever, it's all atzvut in itself. It's sadness. But when it's connected to a purpose, a true purpose, which is Olam HaEmet, so that gives the simcha. Okay? Our weapon now, what our retort should be, is to be b'simcha. That's our retort. So, V'ezrat Hashem, we should work on midat simcha. I just wanted to say, all these ideas we mentioned now are taken from Likutey Moharan lesson 24. Okay, in Rabbi Nachman's lesson 24, he delves a lot on the power of activating the simcha and how Breslov teachings work. Is that when you learn these books, you begin to activate them. That's stage 1. Then you need to daven about them. Rabbi Nachman's disciple, under his guidance, he wrote prayers on the lessons in Likutey Moharan so that you can learn about it and daven about it to activate them. You need both. You need both. When you learn about something, especially Rabbi Nachman's teachings, you create the remedy. But now it's like someone who has a skin disease and he goes to the pharmacy and he buys the ointment. But if it doesn't apply to the wound, it's not going to help. He bought it. I have the ointment. All right. You have to apply it on the wound. So too, Torah study activates the remedy, and davening about it is what bridges from Korach el Apol, from the potential to action. So Rav Natan, he wrote a beautiful prayer on these ideas of the simcha. And the idea is, if you don't daven about these things, it won't happen by itself. If you don't make a move to ask Hashem to be b'simcha, it's not going to move. So we put out here, just if you can, Richard, can you do this out? You have a QR scan for a WhatsApp group and has a link to the whole prayer and the lesson in a format that you can do it in a 40-day challenge. Last time I was here last year, I presented this 40-day challenge and I saw that it was too heavy for people. So we made it very easy now. Very easy. Patrick, I made it easy. Okay? It's very easy. It takes 1 minute a day. 1 minute a day, 2 minutes a day. Okay? And as a second QR for helping support what we're doing here. These classes took about a year to prepare, believe it or not. The whole classes that were given on the Shabbat. And it's a lot of research and study and preparation and what we do. Everything's explained on this page. You have a second QR to help support us. And Canadian tax receipt is available on that. B'ezrat Hashem, we should be zocher to be b'simcha. As the pasuk says, Ki b'simcha tetzeu. If you think, like the people, the Rabbanim are saying now, Mashiach's coming, and everyone now is shaken.
Yeah.
Mashiach doesn't come like this, sorry. Mashiach will come out of simcha. Ki besimcha tetzeu doesn't just translate as when Mashiach comes, so we're going to come back with simcha. Rather, Rav Nosson explains, read it as ki besimcha through simcha. In other words, the prerequisite before Mashiach comes is there's going to be an abundance of simcha. Even the goyim are going to be simcha. As yomru bagoyim, higdel Hashem lasot in ele, higdel Hashem lasot imanu, hayinu semechin. The translation is that when it comes time to, right, the goyim are going to say about us, Higdil Hashem lasot im ela. The goyim az yomru bagoyim. They're going to say amongst the nations, wow, everything that happened to the Jews, Higdil Hashem lasot im ela. Hashem made it to make a bigger praise and a glory for these people, the Jewish people. And Higdil Hashem lasot imanu. And as a result of doing good for them, it's good for us. And we will be happy. The goyim are saying about themselves, we will be happy. So on this, Rabbi Nachman builds that Mashiach will come specifically through being happiness. So if you think fear and pachad, oh, it's the signs of Mashiach, it's not the signs of Mashiach yet. This is to push us to be b'simcha when there will be an abundance of simcha in the world, that even the goyim will be happy about us. This is the sign for Mashiach B'ezrat Hashem. We should be zocheh to work on building it, that we should be examples for the world to have simcha B'ezrat Hashem.
You all with the money prize.
Thank you very much. Hashem should bless you. There's a QR if you want.